What's up, guys? I know I mostly do videos on video games, and that's pretty much it. But I actually spend more time watching movies than I do playing video games, so I wanted to make a quick um, video series for some of the unique movies I've seen on Blu-ray. And I wanted to start with a company called Code Red, which puts out a bunch of B movies, cult movies, horror movies, just all kinds of crazy stuff. They put them out in like really good looking transfers, probably the best most of these movies have ever looked. And so I want to talk about them, and I want to start with number one, which is they number the spines. I don't know if you can see that or not, but so they're kind of like the criterion of like trash movies, I guess. But they number the spines, and the first one is the Electric Chair. Now this movie's not horror. It's not like exploitation. It's like a straight up like courtroom drama, but everyone in it who is like a non-actor, or at least most of them. The guy from Darkman is like in the crowd of one of the scenes, but he doesn't really have a big part in it. And anyway, it's got like really bad acting, really bad writing, but it all comes together with like just this magical terribleness that's incredible to watch. And it's got some really interesting scenes in it. It doesn't have a lot of nudity, unfortunately. It has very little bloodshed, but it does have a pretty cool like courtroom shooting, and all the dialogue is so stilted. It's almost like an alien had tried to capture like human interaction but didn't get it quite right. It's very 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 southern, so like everything has like that twang to it, and it's just everybody's worried about what everybody else thinks. It has like a real small town mentality, but it's really fun. It's probably not going to be of interest to the people who normally buy Code Red Blu-rays, because it's not a horror movie and it doesn't have like a lot of over-the-top stuff. It's a pretty straightforward drama, but it's just so bizarre that you kind of have to, at least for me, and I like those like weird southern movies, so I really liked it. I thought it was really funny. It mostly does just take place in a courtroom, but it has like just this ridiculous defense attorney who looks like some kind of weird corn-pone Bond villain or something. And anyway, that's the Electric Chair. It's like I said, spine number one. So that was not, I don't think it was the first one released, but it was the first one announced in the series. If you want to buy any of these, if you go on eBay, they always, just about everybody lists them as being out of print and rare. And in almost every case, they're not out of print, but you have to buy them direct. So if you want to buy the Electric Chair, I recommend you go to CodeRedDVD.com, and they have a bundle with two other kind of crime-related movies. And that's a way to save a few dollars. If you like local theater level acting and weird dialogue, it's just an interesting movie. Next we have spine number 94, which is The Hills Have Eyes 3 Mind Ripper, which I don't think is really a official entry in the Hills Have Eyes series, and it would have been a sequel to the original Hills Have Eyes, not the torture porn new one. But this has Lance Henriksen, and it's also mid 90s, so you know it's not going to be a great movie, because mid 90s did not do too well for horror movie and cult fans. But it has Lance Henriksen, and he's fine in it. But it also has Natasha Gregson Wagner, who is just a complete monstrosity. I can't stand her. I think she's horrible in this movie. I just want to like repeatedly punch her in the face because she was so annoying. Like, she's always trying to do everything she can to not fuck her boyfriend in this movie. So she's like, if you've ever seen her, she has like this kind of like little southern accent, kind of, but it's not a southern accent. She's like, I think that's the first time you've ever touched me above the waist. And it was just, you just want to murder her. It's got Giovanni Ribisi in it too, and he's awful in it as like a rebellious teen who suddenly, like toward the end of the movie, he starts to like realize that he wants his dad's love and respect. The main reason to see it, it's got some pretty good gore in it. It's got some really cool kill scenes, but the main reason to see it is like the monster. And the monster is this, like, he looks like the dude, like the banjo guy from Deliverance, but like all jacked up and juiced to the gills. And when he opens up his mouth, he has a big vagina that like opens up out of his mouth. And then that's pretty cool just by itself. But then like after it opens up, this huge dog's dick comes out of the vagina that comes out of his mouth, and that's how he like dispatches a lot of the people. The Blu-ray doesn't have any extras, but it does look really good. I can't imagine the movie looking too much better than that. I mean, I really can't. I don't think anybody else is going to even release it. That's it. This one is, I think, is only available at RoninFlix.com. It's kind of hard with Code Red to track them down because some of them are exclusive to different sites. I got it off of RoninFlix.com, which is Ronin like the Masterless Samurai, and then Flix is Flix. If you like mid-90s horror and you like Lance Henriksen, and you want to see a vagina that shits out a dog's dick, it's worth seeing. But don't expect like a normal Hills Have Eyes movies, because I don't think it, aside from Wes Craven producing, and I don't think it has much of a connection to it. Next I got number 56, which is Death Journey, which has one of my favorite blaxploitation actors in it, Fred Williamson. And he's in so many good movies. And Death Journey was one of the ones that he produced, and I think he wrote it. No, he didn't write it. Abel Jones wrote it. But he produced it and directed it. And basically, he plays just like he always does. He's just a total badass. And he has to take this big old fat boy across the country by cars and by train. It makes a big deal of promoting the train aspect of it, but there wasn't much to the train part of it. But basically, he just goes around and kills everybody. Every woman that he runs into wants to be with him, wants to fuck him. So he just kills people, fucks girls, and that's it. It has some absolutely horrible but extremely entertaining fight scenes that are like supposed to be like martial arts showdowns, but instead they're kind of like really awkward, slow motion fights. But I mean, it's entertaining. Fred Williamson is great, and he's his normal badass self in this. It's got some decent gun violence, and it's got those ridiculous fights. There's not a lot of blood in it, but there is a scene where he takes on a couple guys in a bathroom, not in the way that, you know, you would think when you think about a guy taking on a couple guys in a bathroom, but it's got some decent blood in it, not a lot. It's got some nudity, but again, not a lot. It's a good movie. It's mostly like action, and kind of, if you like blaxploitation movies, it's good. But I would say if you like Fred Williamson at all, you should see it. It's very interesting. The DVD has a commentary with Fred Williamson. It's got an interview with Fred Williamson, and it's got the trailer too. But the print looks really, really nice. It looks really good for what was a pretty low budget movie from the 70s. So if you like Fred Williamson or you like blaxploitation, you should definitely check it out. Next we have Spine number 21. I don't know if you can see. It's hard to tell if you can see that. Which is the Cheerleaders. Now this is like the ultimate for me, kind of like cheesecake, sex comedy. They don't really they put a little bit of story in at the beginning, like a girl wants to get laid, but her boyfriend won't fuck her, which is kind of an odd, what's like a really odd story to go on. But so she joins the cheerleading squad. She wants to use it to get laid. They want her to, you know, help boost the morale of the players and whatnot. But the story goes out the window like right off the bat, and it's just basically these teenage cheerleaders fucking everyone. Like, not just like their boyfriends or whatever. If they run into a guy, they fuck them. They fuck their teachers, they fuck the coach, they fuck the bus driver, they fuck creepy old guys. Basically anyone who comes into contact with them, they'll fuck. Like, and there's no lead up, there's no nothing. Like, a girl goes into is like passing by the doorway of her friend's brother's room, and he's in there jacking off, and she just climbs on top of him. Like, and that's pretty much what happens in every scene in the movie. It's just non-stop sex, non-stop tits and ass. Obviously no blood, because it's not really a horror movie. It's not a horror movie at all. But it's got tons of tits, tons of ass, tons of full frontal nudity. It's the 70s, so there's bush. I mean, that's up to you whether or not that's going to throw you off of the movie. But then it has like a big orgy scene at the end that's kind of entertaining, but it's just it's nothing but sex. So if you like to see naked girls, the Cheerleaders is packed with naked girls. I'm trying to remember if there's anybody in it that kind of stood out, but I can't remember right offhand of anybody that was in it that would really like stand out. But that's the Cheerleaders, which I think is awesome. I got the Cheerleaders from CodeRedDVD.com. I also got Death Journey from CodeRedDVD.com. But I think they're also available from ScreenArchives.com, which is the third really reputable place to go and get your Code Red movies. So if you can't find it at one of them, you can try it at the other one. The last movie is kind of like the holy grail of the Code Red, and it's the one movie that for sure, it's not out of print because Bill has a bunch of copies of it, but he's not going to let loose of them because people pissed him off, and he's just doesn't take shit from anybody, so he pulled all the copies and won't sell them now. It's Spine number 70, and it's a movie called Necromancy. Now, this is a movie that's presented here in an R-rated cut, which puts some nudity back in. There was a huge controversy over whether or not it was the true R-rated cut. It was kind of proven that it was, but it didn't satisfy everybody, and so that's what pissed off Bill, and he pulled it. So you're probably not going to be able to find this at any of the sites that I mentioned. I had to get mine off of eBay, and I think normal price on it's anywhere between like $60 to $80. So it's not a cheap movie if you want to see it, but if you want a complete Code Red and you want to see a bizarre movie, it's definitely worth doing. What besides the fact that it's super rare, what brings most people to Necromancy is Orson Welles is in it. And if you've seen a lot of Orson Welles' late work, some of it is good, and then some of it is just, I don't want to say it's bad because it's not particularly bad, but it's just so weird. And this is definitely one of the movies where he has a weird performance. He plays a guy who wants to bring his dead son back to life, and he does so by operating a company that makes occult-themed toys. And then he wants to use this like occult ritual to draw the soul out of this hot chick and put it into his son and bring him back to life. It's kind of convoluted. The movie's very like dreary, but it's like kind of, I don't want to say dreamlike because it's not like a fantasy, but it's just kind of like, it's just kind of like floaty and atmospheric. The movie's in really bad shape. I think they did the best they could with this transfer. It looks good, but a lot of the colors faded out of it. It doesn't have a lot of detail in it, but it looks good. It's definitely watchable. It's not terrible. I've seen some people say it looks awful. It does not look awful. It's just not ideal, but what are you going to do unless somebody spends just a shit ton of money to restore this? It's never going to look that great. So the issue would be like, is it worth the $60 to $80 that you might have to pay to get it? And I think it depends on what you want. It does not have a lot of gore in it. I think I remember like 2 or 3 very, very brief topless scenes. So it doesn't have a lot of gore. It doesn't have a lot of nudity. If you like Orson Welles, and if you just like kind of having rare movies, which is always fun, you can actually watch the movie online at a couple places that are streaming, but it's not the R-rated version. So that's the other thing, is that it's just hard to get a hold of this R-rated version. So I would say that it is worth it. But then again, there's always the chance that Bill will take pity on his legions of fans and release the last like couple hundred copies that he has. I also want to mention, when it comes to all the Code Red Blu-rays, most of them are limited, between like 1,000 and 3,000 copies. Not all of them, but most of them are. So that's 5 Code Red movies that I watched lately. I had fun with all of them. They're all very different. I mean, some of them have... Oh, and I forgot to mention, though, in the electric chair is also features an extended R-rated version of the movie, which I think is like 15 or 16 minutes of extra footage, and it doesn't add a lot. I don't think it adds any nudity or violence, but it's just kind of nice having a more complete version of the movie. The one that I had before was on a Something Weird DVD, and it was really, besides being a shit print that was like watermarked, it wasn't the full version of the movie, so it's just kind of nice to have that. I forgot to say it, so I wanted to mention here before the end. So if you like cult movies, B movies, horror movies, check some of these out, and do not pay the eBay prices on most of these. Go to CodeRedDVD.com, ScreenArchives.com, and RoninFlix.com. Find them there. Don't help the hoarders on eBay. If there's any other Code Red DVD releases you want me to review, or just I'll be doing some for some other labels too. So if you want to see if there's any particular cult movie that you want to see, or one that you think I should see, just let me know, and I appreciate you watching, and hopefully I'll see you soon.